friends, it's Carly and I'm back again with another review. So today we are on an Age of Apocalypse figure and we're going to be taking a closer look at Weapon X. But before we do that, I want to remind you guys about the schedule I'll be keeping over the next couple of weeks. So I received the Age of Apocalypse Marvel Legends line and the Retro Spider-Man line at the same time. One I had been waiting on forever, it seemed, the Age of Apocalypse series, and one I wasn't expecting until September, the Spider-Man series. That said, I didn't want to wait on either of these for review, so I decided to go ahead and do an every single day posting schedule with an Age of Apocalypse figure one day and a Retro Spider-Man figure the next. So today is Age of Apocalypse, tomorrow will be Retro Spider-Man, and on until I complete the entire series. So to make sure that you do not miss out on this crazy amount of content that I'm going to be trying to generate over the next couple of weeks, please subscribe to my channel and make sure you tick that notification bell so that you are alerted every single time I post a video. And with all of that said, let's move on into it and talk about Weapon X. So as I mentioned in my Jean Grey video, when I pre-ordered this line, I decided to try to get my hands on the Age of Apocalypse comic book series and read it so I would have background knowledge. You guys know I like to talk about the characters, their origins, their stories, in addition to just looking at the figures. But quite frankly, as I was trying to get into the series, I just didn't like it. So that and some volumes of that book are really difficult to come by. I think the entire series is out of print. It's not available on Marvel Unlimited, and I wasn't able to find volume 2, which was really crazy. So I haven't read the book. I did read a brief synopsis of the Weapon X line of the story. So as with most of these big events, they'll take place over several issues of several series that are going on at the time. And this one was in the 90s. It was like a futuristic look at the world when Apocalypse is moving in and taking everything over. So briefly, what I gathered from Logan's story is that he is a part of the X-Men when Jean is kidnapped. Magneto, who's the leader of the X-Men at the time, refuses to go send the X-Men to rescue her. So Logan breaks from the group and goes and rescues Jean, and then they go through a bunch of crazy stuff together. I don't want to ruin it because I haven't read the entire series. I don't want to spoil anything. I don't know what the big reveals are, but it sounded really dark and it sounded really good. So it might be one, it's not in the volume that I have that I pick up later, but if you have read it, let me know what you guys think of it, if it's worthwhile. I think just for the chase alone, I'm going to keep trying to get my hands on this entire series. And it is one of the most beloved X-Men series out there, so I know that if I can just get into it, I should really enjoy it. But all of that aside, the Logan that we're looking at here was written in the 90s, and this is meant to be a futuristic Logan. I'm saying that because there are some style choices that today would not make sense to us. And the first of those is this head, man. So I just cannot get into this head, this crazy anime hair. Look at the depth of his hair, how far back it goes. I get that the idea of a futuristic look was probably quite different in the 90s, but this does not work for me on any level, and I understand that the toy is based on the character design, but I think there are some things they could have done to tame this down, and the head is just wild. It's just too much. It doesn't read Logan. It doesn't look good to me. Yikes. I just really, really dislike this head. Although the facial sculpt itself is pretty good. The string of hair down his face, which is actually a piece of vinyl. So I hate that. Maybe if I end up using this figure for anything, I'll cut that off. But the hair sculpt is just whack to me. I just can't stand it. It's just over the top, and there's no way to look past it, pretty much, the way that it's sculpted. It's just like a pair of wings on the side of his head and a ducktail. This literally looks like a ducktail. It's so bizarre. So off the bat, I'm sort of turned off by his head. The second thing about this figure that really doesn't read Logan to me and sort of just has me agitated is the body. So when I was researching the Weapon X storyline of Age of Apocalypse, you can go to Marvel's website and they'll give you some basic stats about like who, you know, physical stats about the character. So on the Marvel website, the physical stats of Logan are that he is 5'3" and 300 pounds. So I get making him small, that makes sense, but he should be far bigger, far more muscular. He should be, it's just this body, this lean body, this tiny, teeny, tiny little waist is, it just doesn't read Logan to me. It doesn't look powerful like he should. Man, it's two huge missteps right off the bat with this figure for me, and neither of them is really something that I can disguise or manipulate or alter to make it better. It just, the body is wrong for me, and the sculpt on the head is crazy. It just doesn't work. So I'm already pretty disappointed with the look. I do appreciate that they gave him his Logan hairy arms. And, you know, side by side with the Jean Grey figure, maybe I don't have her right here, but side by side with the Jean Grey figure, the costume matches what's in the book. So, you know, there's that. But the sculpt and design of the figure it just doesn't work for me. He needs a bigger body. He needs a bulkier body, a bigger chest, bigger arms. Using a smaller body because he's supposed to be short is one thing, but we don't scale to height on these 112 figures in the Marvel Legends line. So, I mean, the only one, it just, yuck. I just really, really don't like the way that this figure looks. And I hate that I don't, because I don't have a good Logan. So I had another Logan that I bought in the past, and his claws broke off coming out of the package, and I just never replaced him. I had an X-23 whose claws came off when I took her out of the package, and I've never replaced her. Now these claws are a little bit sturdier, so they are, you know, they don't feel as flimsy as claws that I've had in the past, but they have that, you know, feature where they're sort of not uniform. So really you would need to sort of like heat them with water or a hairdryer and sort of bend them into the proper position so that they are uniform. So this Logan, this is something else I don't really understand, and this is story driven, is missing a hand. So you've got one with the claws, and then you've got a clawless sort of nub here, which kind of makes sense, but it also kind of doesn't, because he's claws out on his right hand. So, I mean, I appreciate having an accessory, but in this particular case, having claws out and claws in just is weird to me. But it does sort of express better that we're supposed to know that this character has lost a hand. So let's look at the points of articulation. Design, for the first time in a really long time, I feel like I'm just going to give this figure an F overall. I know that there are things in the book that couldn't have been changed. So the paintwork is fine, the outfit is fine, but the body choice is wrong for me, and the head is just insane. So articulation-wise, this head is pretty great. It turns all the way around. It's on a ball, which I always love because you get really great expressive poses from that. It pushes forward like this so that he can do like a really kind of scary stare, and back. So we get some really great movement in the neck, which I think is great for this character, and makes him a little bit more expressive. We do have butterfly joints on him, so we can push his shoulders back incredibly far, really, which is also a necessity for Logan, I think. So they go one really long click back and one forward. So that's great. I love the butterfly joint on him. I don't think that you could have a good Logan without it. The lateral movement in the shoulder is great. It's as it should be, as they always are. We have 360 degrees in the shoulder here, 360 degrees in the bicep, right here. We have a double jointed elbow that doesn't really work all the way because of his huge muscle, which is weirdly flat. His muscle sculpt is also very strange to me. And then in his hand, we've got 360 degree turn and a forward bend that is very, very slight, and a backward bend that is very, very dramatic. So I think you could get some really great poses out of this figure if you cared to do that. That's really important, and I think that it looks great so far. So in the torso, we've got a really good bend forward. He's really able to sort of like hunker down and be like animalistic, which is important in expressing his rages. And there he is bending back, so that's great. We do not have a 360 degree turn in the waist, and this could be because the belt is obstructing that. But actually that's not it. I thought maybe it was at first, but it's not. So he has no turning in the waist, which is weird, I think. But like I said, we still have some great articulation up top, so we still can get some really great poses in that way. So we could have a bit of a lateral lift here. It's not great. It's not going all the way. I've been noticing that a lot with figures lately, that their legs are not going all the way out the way that I feel that they should. And especially with very athletic figures, with very lithe athletic figures, they need to be able to be flexible. So it bothers me, but you know, it's just the standard now, it seems like. So we've got 360 degrees in the thigh. He does have double jointed knees. These work a lot better than the elbows do, you can see. And then we have that great backward movement in the foot, forward, and that ball and socket joint that spins all around like this. So the articulate points on this figure are successful. I feel like they, for the most part, have done everything that I would want my Logan to be able to do, except for the turning in the waist is really a bother to me. I'm upset about that. The accessory is weird. I understand that we're supposed to read that this figure has lost, or this character, excuse me, has lost a hand, so giving him his nub makes sense. But then we should also have a claws, a right hand to replace the claws out hand. I just don't like having him posed with claws out on one hand and no claws on the other, so I probably would never use this hand cap. The head is a mess, and I really don't like it. And it bothers me that I don't like it, because as I said, I really want a Logan. But this is a Logan that I just really can't get behind. The heavily muscled area of his neck, I don't know what that muscle is called, which is very embarrassing to me right now. I just can't think of it. But the way that his neck is raised up, and the way that he is so slightly built, and these muscles are so overbulked, give him a very like detached look from his neck to his head. And there's also a weird triangular element to it. It's just not good, guys. I'm not really sure what happened. It could be that the way that the character was designed for the story made it difficult to create a figure that would work and look great at the same time, that maybe it was just a strange design. But I do feel like there were choices made by Hasbro that could have corrected for that somewhat. I really like the Rage body for his upper body. I think that could have worked really well with a narrower lower body. He needs a waist that turns, absolutely. And making him slight like this doesn't read short the way that he's meant to be. He's supposed to be short and stocky, and that doesn't read by giving him a narrow, inappropriately small body. So this one for me is a big miss. I'm not probably going to display him. I might try to do something with the body, like swap a head out and do something completely different, but overall, Weapon X is a big bummer. I'm not happy at all with the way this figure came out. So I hate to say that. You guys know I always try to look for the bright side, but I have to be honest, and in this case, this figure doesn't work on any level for me. he's just really kind of a miss. So let me know if you are a fan of Age of Apocalypse, how you feel about this Weapon X. Does he stand up to the way the design in the book was? Do you feel like this is one that you absolutely love and want in your collection? I feel like this is a series now that if you're a fan of Age of Apocalypse, you're gonna love, because the characters they chose are main characters from the series, obviously, and will display well together as far as that storyline goes. But I think as a fan of action figures, they are going to be sort of a miss for everyone. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. If you think I'm completely wrong about this Weapon X, tell me what you think I missed. If you love him, I want to hear about it. And if you agree with me, tell me what you think could be done to make him better. So that is that on Weapon X. I wish it would have been better news for him, but sometimes we just miss the mark. On my next video, I will be looking at a retro Spidey figure. We're going to keep that one a surprise. If you guys would like me to do a particular AOA figure next, if you have one in mind that you want to see, put that in the comments below and I will do whatever you guys want me to. Thank you guys so much for watching my videos. Thank you for your subscribes. Thank you for your likes, your dislikes, all of your comments. Everything you do means so much to me, and I will keep working hard to get better. Thanks, friends. Have a great day. Bye.